Hi, everybody out there. Happy Friday the 13th. Friday, the day of Venus, and 13, the number of lunar cycles or menstrual cycles. Yeah, it's an important femme day. Although I have lately been thinking a lot about masculine and feminine qualities. We very often consider the moon feminine, but I find and agree with the gender theory of Thoth or Hermes that every being, thing, object, whatever you'd like to, physical manifestation has both a masculine and feminine side. However, the feminine has been quite shunned in the past 5,000 years or so, well, since Mesopotamia. Or my brain is a little off today. And you might be hearing some ambient outside sounds because it's a lovely day out and people are out there playing and shouting. And I don't really feel like going somewhere more quiet at the moment. All right. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you all. I am going to be changing the structure a little bit. So you are always, as a patron, welcome to ask me any questions, direct message me. You can private message me, however you want to say it. Hit me up and I will include your questions in the show. Moving forward, I'm going to revert back to just giving a reading to someone, one of my patrons. So we'll be focusing on one reading, and I appreciate the feedback from people saying how the readings that I'm giving to other people are also resonating with what's happening in their life. And we're certainly going to see that come up time and time again. You never know what can end up being valuable information to you. So seeing and sitting with and watching another person's reading, it really can be so beneficial. I do it all the time. I know others do it as well. There's always little tidbits that can be picked up from the divine cosmos and higher powers at large, right? Okay. So I have two questions that I'm going to get to straight away. And then I am going to do a Celtic Cross reading for the collective. So for anybody on this lovely magical day, that would be Friday the 13th of August, 2021. It's a special day. Also, shout outs to the darling, fabulous, beautiful Jamie Lutzow on your birthday. What a divine day. Not surprised one bit, frankly. All right, let me pull up this question. Okay. I need assistance on staying focused on the important activities to move me forward in my career, as opposed to the busy work. Any guidance in this area would be greatly appreciated. Okay, I'm gonna flippy floppy. And for some reason I'm being called to two cards to draw two cards for you. All right, so I'm just going to reread this question. So I'm absorbing it, spitting it back out to you. I'm gonna spit it back out in my own words in a minute. I need assistance on staying focused on the important activities to move me forward in my career, as opposed to the busy work. I would like, and I wish I could ask you right now live, but you can get back to me on this, my darling patron. Just send me a private message. I would like to know what you're considering busy work. What do you mean by busy work? And any guidance in this area would be greatly appreciated. All right. So, honey, we have the 9 of Cups come up for you. And then we have the Lovers reversed. All right. So what's coming up for me is community. And I feel that you need to join into a community because right now you're feeling self-contained and isolated. And in doing so, in joining a community, you are going to break out of this kind of imprisonment that you find yourself in. And one way to do that is to connect in with other people who might be experiencing similar things. So one would be to find a community around which they're also struggling with this said busy work you're mentioning. What is the busy work? Are you ADHD? Are you procrastinating? Are you just afraid of success? There are groups out there, communities out there for each one of those things, support groups. So I'm going to suggest to you to really get into a specific group of people with similar problems. They might not be exactly the same as your own, but enough where you can say, hey, I have this problem and so do you. What are you doing about it? Here's this resource. Resources galore in those groups. I'm part of about 20 myself, honey. So you do that. And then the 9 of Cups also is like emotional support group. So yeah, there is like this form of crisis, but in that crisis that you are feeling right now, connecting with a group of like-minded individuals experiencing the similar crisis through what they're trying to develop in their career and goals and outcomes and productivity can really be beneficial to motivating you. Good? Hit me up. Please let me know more specifically, and then we can get into it further. Thank you so much for your question. I appreciate you and all of my lovely patrons. Okay. The next question is pretty silly. It's from one of my patrons' daughters. Love it. Oh yeah, so if you have friends too, my patrons, or family or loved ones that are struggling, feel free to have them come in with whatever is on their mind. So this lovely little darling, he has asked me, why is the sky blue? Whew. Oh my gosh. Well, I can say, we're going back to color theory 101, back to my college days here now. I do know, I think there's like a theory, a specific theory about the sky being blue. However, you and the way you perceive reality, you are viewing planes of light, and then they're all moving at different wavelengths. So these are all particles coming at you, and the particles show up at different wavelengths in the prism that's projecting out through the particles. And that I think I remember the blue, the color blue is that has like the shortest wavelength. So blue things have a shorter wavelength to perceive. And then I am being distracted by playing outside in the sky, under the blue sky. So under the blue sky, we have received, funnily, this King of Swords. Today I'm using the Dali deck, which is pretty silly. It's a bizarre deck. I wouldn't recommend it as a beginning deck, but I've been having fun playing around with it. I also do appreciate Dali's quirkiness, resonate with that a little bit. He has the King of Swords, and this King of Swords is under a blue sky, and floating in the blue sky in the background is a reflection of himself in all blue. I just happened to pull that as the card. So when we're looking at it from the perspective of tarot, and I do think it's funny that this is the card that I got, I have to say, and I know I've spoken about this before and I'll speak about it again, I'm obsessed with Donald Hoffman and his theories about how we perceive and survival. And I don't mean survival like in a sympathetic versus parasympathetic fight or flight kind of way. I mean it in a why we're perceiving light, why we're smelling our sensory. Why are these things the way that they are? And how much do we really cognitively understand about them? Not a lot. So I do love this question because there is so much mystery in the science realm around why we're perceiving things the way we do and what those perceptions mean. And this is even where we can connect in to higher forms of consciousness, however you want to see that, the universe, God, Gaia, whatever it is for you. We are perceiving these things, and that perception, it's you get into what is reality. What is reality? So this King of Swords it's resonating with that. What can you confirm as actual reality? I really highly, and I will put it in a link, recommend watching the Donald Hoffman TED Talk. It will blow your mind. It did for me anyway. And why we're perceiving these planes of light at different wavelengths. Is it just some happenstance, or is there more to it? There's a lot of questioning, and I think there's a lot of rationale that needs to be chopped in half, like this King of Swords. I don't think we understand the full picture, is what I'm saying. There are intangible elements at play, and at work, play. I like play more than work, you know? There are intangible elements at play with our perceptions of reality. And being the King of Swords, you can really connect in with those. And you can see the different planes of light. You can see that the sky is constantly changing. The color, everything about it, the perceptions that you are witnessing and observing, sitting in observation, and just the majesty of the concept behind perception and what is reality. It's a goddamn miracle. That's what I have to say about that. All right, honeys. So now I'm going to shuffle again, and we are going to do a little collective Celtic Cross reading. The Celtic Cross has been calling to me lately. Not one that I typically use, or that's ever really resonated with me before. So I'm going to join. Quite a nice change up from my usual draws. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay. So we're starting with the center and then the crossing. Okay. So for the center, we have the Five of Pentacles. And the crossing, we have Justice. Okay. So the vertical, we have, again, the Five of Pentacles. And it's reversed. So in the Five of Pentacles, we have a bridge. And we have a choice in that bridge. And so in the crossing, if this is the bridge and we're looking at the vertical, and then justice is crossing the horizontal. Five of Pentacles, we already know, is quite a hierarchical card. It resonates quite well with issues in religions, leaving people out, exclusion, oppression, many, many hot button issues right now. And collectively, we need to pay closer attention to our own inner lives and how our subconscious could perhaps be projecting. I'm seeing a lot of arguing, of fighting, of what's right, what's wrong. And in that, we have this horizontal crossing of the Justice card, which, what is just and what is right? Everyone has a goddamn chip on their shoulder. They do. I think this is the start of calling for inner self-reflection and humility. I think about, which is somewhat of a problematic book, but has been coming to me again and again lately, is nonviolent communication. The way we communicate with one another is become incredibly abrasive. No one's hearing each other. No one's pressing pause and actually doing listening. I think this is calling very strongly for listening to the needs of others, getting into the needs of why their opinions or perceptions might be the way that they are. If we can't do that, we're not going to be able to have any sort of justice in the world. The justice in this draw is non-linear, and the Five of Pentacles is linear. Yeah. So if we are wanting to step outside of these linear constructs, these yes and no type of polarities, and get into yes and, either or, both mentalities, we really need to step and take things a bit slower, especially in our communication. Go in to how you're communicating with others. Pay special detailed attention to it. We've got Mercury in Virgo. It is time for a little while to just really deep dive into that kind of detailed processing. Why am I telling this person this? Why is this so upsetting to me? Why am I being triggered by this or that? Really getting in there. And certainly myself is included in that one, honey. Ooh, it is like a fire out there. I mean, it is a fire out there. Everyone is heated. Everyone has their very strong opinions about what should be right and what should be wrong. And as long as we're remaining into that, we're not able, there's a veil over our eyes as to what is important. What is the bigger picture? Okay. Then we have the basis here, 6 of Pentacles. We went from 5 to 6. And 6 of Pentacles, okay. Okay, so here's a little outlet. Check in with yourself. Make a list of what's triggering you when you pay attention to, observe when you're upset, when you're feeling certain ways, and then take that list, shove it up here. No, not really. What I want you to do is to flip it. What is the positive of this negative? What's the best outcome that could happen? What's the best outcome that could happen with someone that has the very opposite opinion of me, of my own opinion is what I mean to say. And how can we come together in a sort of celebratory pleasure with those who might have a differing opinion? How can we connect? How can we connect through physical and material realms? Food, eating, bring that neighbor that you don't agree with, their favorite cookies, play them a song on the guitar, write them a poem, write them a letter. How can you connect it? Send them a gift, something as a token of appreciation. All right, and then we have the recent past, which is an entanglement. Yes, the Empress reversed. We have an organic growth that has come out of control and is in knots. We've really got to go inward to where that knot began in order to untie it. And each of those are with first ourselves, and then by listening, starting to undo these knots. Then we have a possible outcome. We have the Chariot reversed for that. So the Chariot reversed and the possible outcome, I mean, we are really tied up into social medias and how people are portraying and perceiving and projecting and I think it's time for everyone to take a pause on sharing their opinions, sharing their bullshit, unless we really put the filters on, because it is getting out of hand. And I think we really need to recenter ourselves, recenter our balance, recenter our chakras, our energies, understand ourselves on a deeper, more energetic, vibrant level than we currently are. Otherwise, if we keep going in this momentum, our chariots is gonna topple on over. We won't be going anywhere. Then we have the near future, which we've received the Hanged One, the Hanged Person. Okay. Originally called the Hanged Man. Yeah. So this is literally what I'm talking about. Either way, we're coming to a halt. in which we're going to have to go inward. So the choice can either be yours or it can be forced upon you based on external. So it's your choice. Do you go internal now on your own? Or is it going to be some external forcing you into that? Either way, it's coming. So really choose wisely in your time and what you're doing and what you're saying and how you're acting externally and internally towards yourself. Where are we? We have ourself and we have the Page of Pentacles reversed. So again, we're in a tiffy. We are struggling. We're in a fear spiral, a scarcity spiral. The way that we're perceiving and enjoying it's encroaching on a negative territory. The outlook is negative. We're clinging to our laurels, making decisions out of fear and decisions that, are they really for the higher good, or what are they for even? Why are you buying that? What is it for? Really check in with yourself. Why are you eating that? How is it going to affect your body? Checking in the material realm that you're in. Why do you enjoy, why is that giving you pleasure? And can you find the pleasure more internally instead of externally? And that's a collective thing happening right now. We need to reevaluate our systems of pleasure and desire and enjoyment in the material realm. So lusting, what are you lusting after? And can you shift it? Then we have our environment. We have the Queen of Coins or Pentacles. So our environments can really help us. We need to turn to things like biomimicry instead of burning up fossil fuel. This Page of Coins is what we're doing right now. We're burning up fossil fuel. We're buying fast fashion. What are you spending your money and time on? Why are you doing it that way? And how can you restructure that slowly? How can you build new habits around your accumulations, your wealth, your resources? How can we slowly shift to something that isn't part of scarcity and is unsustainable? I guarantee you, even if it says it's eco-conscious or eco-friendly or anything, I worked in those fields of fashion. That shit is not sustainable, even if it says it is. The way that we are living now is not sustainable. And we can learn and relearn sustainability and what our actual physical and material needs are and how to reconnect in with those things by shifting our priorities. And how do we do that? We convene with Mother Nature, the Queen of Pentacles, the Queen of flowers and gardens and the pleasures of earthly delights. All of the things you're eating, some of them might not exist in 10 years, you know? So if you love those damn avocado toast, what are you gonna do to make sure it's around for your children? You know, I don't know, whatever it is that you enjoy and get pleasure from. What are you doing about it? For me, it's water. I love my water. And so I'm a steward to the water, and I have committed to being sovereign to the water. So I'm here to protect the water because I love me a bath. And I want to make sure that I'm able to take a bath when I am an 80-year-old, pink-haired, naked, wrinkly woman. I want to be able to do that. And yes, that is a selfish reason, but also water is so healing. and we can't survive without it. We need clean water, and the water supply is running out fast. We are going to be out of fresh water before you know it. I can't even remember when. It's soon. It's like in 20 years, 15, 20 years. No more fresh water. I don't want to be in that world. I want to be in a world where people are taking action and looking inward. What is valuable to you? Think about it, peeps, and look in your environment for it. Make a list of what in nature you love and do something active about it. First, by going inward and sitting with yourself, observing yourself. Check out Krishnamurti and self-observation. I'm putting some links in the notes below so you can peep. Okay, hopes and fears. We've gotten temperance. So yes, again, moderation, balance. Yeah, I'm not saying stop totally, you can't do it like that. You can't say you're going to do something in a 180. It's not going to work. You need co-regulation. You need support groups. We need to collectively come together with solutions. And one way we can do is to find harmony and balance is to do that, to collectively come together, to just really slow down, I think is the first step. And if we can't do that, here's our fear, is that we'll remain out of balance. We are out of balance. The pendulum is swinging all over like crazy. Everyone's got such differing perspectives of reality. But I implore you, unless you're a billionaire, I don't think Jeff Bezos is spending his time watching this. Look at your resources. Look at how you're using these resources. Really evaluate what you're doing. And let's come together in order to bring things into more harmonious structure with the planet, with Mother Earth, who's our biggest provider and is getting pretty sick of our shit and how we treat it. Okay. The outcome, the final outcome. We've gotten the world. I think if we can do these things, they're not as hard as it all sounds. We can have a new world, but it's really up to each of us. Together, listening. When we don't agree with something, we listen, we ask questions, we take a moment, we pause, we observe, we reflect inward before externally unleashing. And I'm talking about all sides. We've got anti-vaxxers, we've got vaxxers, we've got people, all across the board. No matter what you are, you need to listen and listen to the other side. And take into account the yes and, the both, the either or, not the yes, no, not the I'm right, she's wrong, they're wrong. We're not going to get anywhere if that's the perception that we continue to maintain. Mic drop. Kind of a little wordy today. Thanks for hanging in there. Sending you all love. Happy August. Happy end of Leo season. We're moving into a little Virgo stellium in the next, pretty soon. I can't remember when Virgo begins, but I love you all. If you appreciated this and you would like to support, join me on Patreon. The link is in the notes. Kisses, hugs, galore. Mucho amor.